Hello viewers, my name is Jessica Solis. I plan to become a high school dance department director, and through the following slides I will describe my vision statement as it applies to my career field, the arts, with the intentions of understanding various aspects of culture and schooling. Understanding culture and schooling begins with understanding the various types of learners and hidden curriculum in the classroom. According to Thompson's In Where Education and Simulation Collide, in a nation where most students learning English lag behind other groups by almost every measure, the dance studio space is a space for all types of learners. As a teacher, it will be my duty to identify the abilities and capabilities of my students' physical and mental learning states. Not every student will be able to leap high across the room, and I will have to adapt my lesson plans to what my students are able to do. Each student may learn movement at a different pace, and it is up to me to adapt accordingly, striving to provide an education that inspires my student, not just filling their heads with dance steps. According to the Education Reform Glossary, hidden curriculum refers to the unwritten, unofficial, and often unintended lessons, values, and perspectives taught within the classroom. The National Dance Education Organization agrees that the byproducts of learning dance include the instrumental benefits of physical health, emotional menstruation, social awareness, cognitive development, and academic achievement. Every day, my students will be able to say they learned one thing, whether that is dance steps, history of dance, self-confidence, or cultural awareness. The studio space will have an open door to a world filled with knowledge. My classroom or studio space will allow all high school students to have an inclusive and open space to practice, perform, and perfect their movement of various styles in an inclusive learning environment. I hope to create a space that gives young adults the confidence to express their own personality in a fun and inviting environment. My goal is to use the space in which young adults learn both how to dance and the origin of dance styles. As Dean Maceo would agree, the studio space will double as a place for order and control, while learning academics and a blank canvas for dancers to work upon their artistic creativity. For example, using wall decorations that symbolizes key concepts of each dance style can be used to teach the history of various dance styles, similar to Dismasio's use of national symbols. Johnson can attest that at a public school level, the importance of symbols help with the national integration process. I will utilize this space in the studio to meet the needs of both visual learners and hands-on learners. I plan to build a space that will not only help teach the skills of dance styles, but allow for students to be taught how to be successful as they continue on their journey after high school. Much like Juilliard, I want to provide a classroom that fosters the artistic, intellectual, and personal growth of my students as dancers and leaders in the arts community. The achievement gap refers to the disparity of achievement due to multiple factors such as socioeconomic status, ethnicity, and gender between various student groups. The American Institution for Research suggests that in public schools, the achievement gap begins with the quality of education offered, quality of teachers, socioeconomic status of families, access to resources, eligibility for lunch, and the list goes on. My goal is to narrow the achievement gap by providing access to longer hours of education exposure. The Boys and Girls Club was my way as a young adult to have access to over 100 of programs that allow youth and teens to explore innovative programs designed to empower youth to excel in school, become good citizens, and lead healthy and productive lives. My students will have longer access to positive programs that can assist in helping them excel in their academics and personal home situations. As a nation, the United States has had a 15% dropout rate between 2016 and 2017. There are too many categories for our students to feel different, be misled with misunderstandings of their expectation, motivations, and intentions as an individual in society. I plan on treating all of my students the same and giving them the resources to feel the same, whether they are in the classroom or out in their own communities. Every student in my class should walk through my doors wanting to be the best version of themselves. There will be no gap, and if there is, it will reflect the ability of my students to be open for positive change. According to McDermott and Vernon, over the past 40 years, school performance has become an exaggerated part of claiming a race or group of individuals as incapable of measurable academic achievement, and schools are becoming the primary site for the reproduction of inequality in access to resources. My goal is to provide a space where there is no one way at succeeding and begin to attempt to change the inequalities within our schools. As stated by Single, I believe the difference of capabilities within our own culture allows students the experience of struggling with something that is just outside their reach and accomplish it through hard work and the struggle. I foresee many of my students to find a little of themselves in the various styles of dance taught within my classroom. One week a student will stand out through their jazz walks, and the other week the ballerina with the longest legs will stand out at the bar. However, both standouts will push their peers to meet the same success as them. While the shift of the standouts change, I can only imagine there to be a clash between values and beliefs of their own and their peers, known as cultural conflicts. National Dance Education Organizations suggest students will learn how to respect one another's efforts and appreciate one another's diverse cultural heritage while experiencing culture conflicts. Through learning movement, my students will be able to showcase their strengths and use their own cultural benefits to shine in moments and struggles in others. With an open and accepting community within the classroom, students will see these conflicts as an opportunity for growth in the studio space. In today's pop culture, students are learning through various forms of pop culture, including music, film, television, advertising, sports, fashion, toys, magazines, and comic books, and the medium in which these message moves, digital culture. As a teacher, I plan on using a few of these forms within my classroom, such as music, film, fashion, and digital culture. As Fishman states, pop culture is a constantly evolving pedagogy of celebration and differences that allows a student to make a connection to content. Because I have students in my classroom dance studio space once a week, core rituals are not only important but a must-have in providing the best opportunity to create a schedule, a community, and learning social emotional development. My little dancers use core rituals such as being in the line leader, starting at the green dot, or raising their hand before using the bathroom as a way to learn classroom culture. My older dancers use our cipher, open dance circle, as a way to interact with their peers and freestyle their skills they've learned. Gay defines culturally responsive teaching as using the cultural characteristics, experiences, and perspectives of ethnically diverse students and conducts for teaching them more effectively. The idea is to teach not to one but all cultures within the classroom to allow for students to understand the curriculum in a more meaningful way. As Gay suggests, I will strive to understand as many ethnic group cultural values, tradition, communication, learning styles, contributions, and rational patterns as I can. I know now from Banks and Tucker that it is my responsibility to teach my students to know, to care, and to act. However, more importantly, I need to do the same. I must know what effective ways will assist my students in learning dance movement. I must care for what I'm teaching to them and able to dance alongside them. I must act as if there are conflicts and build solutions constantly. By teaching with the understanding of my students will be able to understand and comprehend lessons into a greater depth and be able to apply lessons to their own cultures. Slater suggests students whom identify with their ethnic origin as well as focusing on overcoming obstacles within mainstream society will succeed throughout the class and outside the class. From the resources through National Dance Education Organization, I will lead students to creative exploration in the arts making process of performing, creating, responding to, and interconnecting dance learning to knowledge of other disciplines and life skills. Thank you for watching. I hope you have learned something from my viewing of my vision statement as a high school dance department director and connect within the fields of arts.